I just see the screen. I am. Good Lord, that is.
You are sweating a little bit.
That is bad.
So, do you want me to douse you in
It's
water
okay.
so
This
it's
is
all
my
the
life.
same?
It's not even that hot in here. I have a problem. It's real bad. I didn't realize it was that. I knew it was coming. I didn't think it was that bad. Oh, what's your story? Don't you dare be sour. Clap for Stephanie and feel the power.
All right, Big E, welcome to What's Your Story?
Thanks for having me.
Yes, no, I'm so excited to have you. You've been at the top of the list.
Which is always, it's wild. You told me that earlier. I always think, I'm not trying to do like a woe is me thing, but for all the people that you've had on, like, I always feel like, why me? My career is kind of behind me. I'm very much someone who is, I'm appreciative. I think I had a really good career, very like proud of it. But I'm like the ski, like you get Livy Dunn, like some of the biggest names in sports and
I'll
media.
tell you why. It's because of who you are as a person. That is why.
Thank you.
And you have the most beautiful story and the things you have overcome and who you are now and where you are in your life. And that journey is remarkable, and how much kindness you show to people and how much love you give all the time, entertaining people all over the world. I mean, that's why we wanted you on this podcast. It's because of you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I always, character means the most to me, and that's something that I always try to prioritize. So it feels very good to be seen. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
So what are some of the other, like items? Like how do you go through life? What are your values?
My values
Like
are,
character is important.
Yeah.
What else is important?
Character is important. Just, the way I treat other people is vitally important.
And why?
It's important because I grew up, and I don't say this to point fingers or whatnot, but I grew up in a household that was not a peaceful one, that wasn't a happy one. And I know what it's like to be around one person who can suck the air out of the room, who can make everyone in the home feel anxious, can feel upset. I know what it's like to be around someone who can make your day worse. And I always wanted, look, life is hard enough as it is. We all deal with health stuff, whether it's loss, grief, just the day-to-day of being alive and weathering those storms. So I never wanted to be anyone who made life harder for other people. And my hope was that my presence hopefully can make someone's day just a little bit lighter, just a little bit better. That's always the kind of person that I wanted to be, because I kind of just saw the toll that being around my father took on my sisters, my mom, and myself. And from a very young age, I knew I never wanted to be that. So, and honestly, it feels good to be someone who is kind and empathetic, and when people are excited to see, like, that feels really good. And that's something that I take. I think oftentimes people wonder, like, why should I be a good person if there's no, sometimes you don't get a reward from it. Sometimes you don't get anything in return.
Sure.
But kindness is the reward in and of itself. I think the ability to connect with people, like connection, especially as I've grown up, as I've worked on myself, that's my favorite thing. I love being around, whether it's strangers, whether it's friends, family, the ability to sit down with someone, whether it's over a meal, whether it's just having a conversation, talking about life. That for me that's when I feel most alive, is connection. So I love conversation. I love people. I love connecting with people. So for me, that's just something that, like, that feels like my purpose. That's my why. That's why I love being around people, is because I think that's a big reason why I'm here on this earth.
Oh my God, that was so beautiful.
I mean, and you just start talking, and I know everyone else the same way. You're just listening. You feel it. You feel your
Energy.
and
Yeah.
like the good. And when you said, you grew up in a situation where, like, you've got someone who's negative, so many people go the other way.
Right.
And they're like, this is how I grew up, so this is how I'm going to treat people. And to hear someone who is like, I'm going to do the complete opposite, it's beautiful.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, I think in my father's situation, his father was someone who, like, my dad would tell these stories of growing up in Jamaica, and his father would beat them all the time. They didn't have shoes, even though he was fairly well off. He had like a second family. So I recognize that this is very much a pattern, and I don't know much about my great-grandfather. Like, it might be a cycle that has gone on for generations and generations. And I told myself, I refuse to repeat that cycle. I refuse to pass that pain down on to other people, and I don't ever want to be that person. So it was vitally important for me to be the last one that had to endure that in my family. Like that is not something that I'm going to replicate. So yeah, that's something I just refuse to be.
And how did you get to this place where you were so resolute that that's not who you were going to be? Like, when was that?
I think honestly, one of my earliest memories as a kid was just realizing, like, looking around at how I felt, and like I struggled with depression from a very early age. Seeing the sadness in my mom
You,
and
you
my
said in the
sisters.
Players Tribune you were 9.
Yeah,
Right?
I so my first memory is being 9 years old,
Oh,
and
that's your first memory,
my
period.
first memory of struggling with
Oh,
depression, of
struggling.
struggling,
Okay.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
So my first memory of really just feeling like I don't want to be here was 9 years old and looking in the mirror and just crying and thinking about like I want to be anyone but me. Just feeling very much alone, feeling like I like truly anyone else but who I was. And I just was not comfortable in my skin, and really just struggled with a lot of self-loathing, and that was something that like from the earliest of ages really hampered me.
And why self-loathing? Like, what do you think that is in the pattern, of behavior of people who grow up in abusive homes in whatever form or fashion? Why is self-loathing and shame? Why are they two so prominent feelings?
Yeah, I think you just when you get daily messages that you're worthless or you're not good enough or that you're just not a good child, when you get that message every day, over time from and especially from your parents. These are people
Yeah,
who are
the
supposed to
people who
love
love
you
you the
more than
most.
anyone.
Yeah.
And I would always hear these stories of like the power of a mother's love and how much, when fathers who might be unprepared, they had their first child and they were just overwhelmed with this feeling of love. And I always thought these are the people who are supposed to love you more than anyone else on this earth. Like it's in their DNA. And
They
when
created you. Yeah.
exactly. And also, like, I grew up in a pretty, we were sheltered in many ways in that, like, we didn't have sleepovers. Obviously, I went to school, I played sports, I had a job and did those things, but I didn't have a ton of outside influences, especially as a young kid. So I spent a lot of time just being surrounded by that message every single day. And, you look up to your parents, even if they're imperfect people, especially as a small child. And I thought, like, oh, these are the people who are telling me I'm not good enough. I'm not valuable enough. And over
Mm,
time, it's hard as a kid. That's your earliest programming.
yeah.
And I think that's why I'm such a big proponent of therapy is because when you're a child, these are the first messages being sent into your brains, the first things you're learning about the world, about yourself, about the way you exist on this earth. And it takes so much time to undo that programming because it's iOS 1, that's it's the first thing that's installed in you. So it took so much time for me to kind of unlearn a lot of that.
Are there any moments you remember from your childhood prior to that 9-year-old birthday that you remember having a moment of love, of peace, of like, oh, hey, yeah, can I have this more? Did they ever give it to you?
Yeah, so I definitely remember, when I was with, I have these moments, these just as small glimpses with my mom of softness, of like being in her arms, of her, just being there for me and being someone who was sensitive and someone that had, was very maternal. But I think over time, what I've found is growing up in that household, I think she kind of developed a bit of, I don't know if Stockholm syndrome is the right way to put it, but
So,
over time you have
yeah.
to learn to survive yourself. And I felt like, and again, like I love my mom and I'm so grateful for her sacrifices too. But I also can identify that I think in many ways she had to make choices to kind of protect herself.
Hmm.
And sometimes just going along with things or just falling in line was the easiest route for her. So definitely when I was younger, there was definitely a softness that I think over time, unfortunately, was lost.
When, and this interview I knew was going to be very emotional, and maybe we should have like warned the audience
Yeah.
somehow in advance. But when I saw you at Fanatics, and we had a brief moment, and you had mentioned you had seen one of the podcasts, and you said, "Why do we always feel the need to protect the people who hurt us the most?"
Yeah.
And it was really profound to me. And I didn't know if you could. I mean, you don't have to explain it. It speaks for itself. But, if there's any more to that, why you said that. And I
Yeah.
don't mean in relation to me, I mean in general.
No, absolutely. Because it's something that I've thought about for the longest time. Like I didn't want to talk about a lot of this. One, I carried so much shame with my own depression, my own struggles, being in a psych ward for a month in college. These are things that I ever thought if they got out, that people would just dismiss anything I had to say. So I carried a lot of shame, but also I'm just someone who I don't have an interest in throwing my parents under the bus. I don't have an
Sure.
interest in, making them feel bad about because that for me, it's not about assigning blame. That really
Right.
has nothing to do with it. And I thought, okay, maybe after my parents passed, because like my dad was born in 1937. Like
Mm.
he is not a young man, but he's still here. He's still ambulatory. Like he's had some health issues, but he's still around. And for the longest time, I thought maybe I'll wait for my parents to pass before I start talking about these things. But the reason I wanted to talk more about them was because I've been around so many people who quietly struggle, and it's so difficult to, I think, sometimes get help or seek help when you don't see your story in other people. Because I felt
Mhm.
very alone. I felt very broken. I felt like no one else really feels the way I feel. But when you can hear other people tell their stories and realize, oh, that feels very much like what I went through. So that's why I wanted to talk more and more about what I went through. But I also just grew up, I'm a believer. I grew up in the church, and my dad was a pastor, and a lot of the messaging like we grew up with was about honoring your parents, and that's something that I really believe in. Like I don't. I'm not here to slander my parents or say they were the worst. Like I went to a prep school. My sisters and I went to a prep school that my mom sacrificed a lot for, and I'm so grateful for. Although sometimes I am a little apologetic because instead of going into education or doing something with my brain, I decided to be a pro wrestler. So I didn't really use that
The greatest
education.
job in the world, by
It
the way.
absolutely is. But I don't know if you need to go through 6, 7 years of prep school to be a pro wrestler.
Different type of prep school.
Absolutely. But so I'm very mindful of what my parents provided for me, and I always had enough to eat. I had a great education. I grew up middle class, so I'm grateful for all those things. So for me, I think that desire to protect my parents and the people that hurt me the most, to protect my father was because I wasn't interested in assigning blame. I wasn't interested in pointing fingers or trying
Well, you
to.
blamed yourself anyway.
I did,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you mentioned about a lot of people who struggle silently, and that's something that you went through. So and if you could tell, how did you get the help, or how was it recognized?
Yeah, so I kind of the story of my life. I think a lot of times it's hard to understand things in the moment, but when you have more perspective and you can look back, you kind of see the big picture. I'm so thankful for all the coaches and teachers and friends in my life. I had so many great people who just came out of nowhere and opened doors for me. So I ended up going into therapy at 19 years old after. So I was at the University of Iowa, really blessed to get a scholarship to play football there. And my freshman year at 18, I tore my left ACL, and it was really devastating.
Well, and there was a bigger piece of that, right? Because the coach had just told you that you were going to play,
Yeah,
right?
so it was, man, this moment of, so I played with guys, Jonathan Babineau, who was a starter for the Atlanta Falcons for like over a decade, was on that defensive line. He was a senior that year. Matt Roth was drafted by the Dolphins, I think in the 4th round. He ended up having a lengthy career. Derek Robinson played for the Chargers. So we had 3 guys on that defensive line who were all an incredible defensive line. We were number 8 in the country. I only played 1 year of high school football, and I thought like somehow I got to Iowa on a scholarship, got this last minute offer. Everything was going to work out for me. And I was told like you're going to be able to play as a true freshman with this incredible defensive line, playing against the Michigans, the Ohio States. Like this is it. College football was my first dream, and you get a chance to play amongst the very best in the country, and then that's taken away from me. And then you spend 9 months rehabbing, surgery, doing all those things to get back. And then finally, here's an opportunity to play again, and the same thing happens to the other knee.
Mm.
So for me, it just felt once again like I felt like I was able to dig myself out of the hole of a lot of the frustration of childhood, and finally things were working out for me. And then to have that door closed on me twice with the ACLs at 19 was just really devastating for me. So I feel like that really triggered a lot of my depression just getting even worse. And Coach Ron Aiken, who actually, and the world is so funny because I later found out that Boogeyman played for
Really?
Coach Aiken. So
Oh,
my defensive line coach, Boogeyman, actually played for him at a small college called
Huh.
Tarkio. And I think, Boogeyman and I were not like close in age, but discovering that we had the same defensive line coach was really incredible. But yeah, Coach Aiken was just this great coach who recognized that things weren't going well for me and essentially forced me to go talk to someone. And the way I grew up is a man doesn't talk about his feelings. He doesn't talk to anyone about his feelings. He just bottles everything up. And so that's very much the school of thought I had. I was a quiet, introverted kid, and the idea of talking to a therapist about what I was feeling was like, I'm not doing that. But when your defensive line coach says you're going, like I didn't really have much of a choice. And I'm so grateful because I just had an amazing therapist. Marvin Sims, rest his soul, who unfortunately passed away several years ago from cancer, was someone who was connected with the Iowa football program. And he was just a lovely human being who was patient with me all the times. The first few times I went to go talk to him, I didn't want to open up. I didn't want to talk about what I was going through. But he didn't push me. He was receptive. But he just, in many ways, he was like an uncle and just someone that felt like family. But over time of going to him on a weekly basis, I began to open up and talk about what I was feeling. But my journey in therapy was not a smooth one. It wasn't like, hey, 6 months of therapy and you're good. I had many, many struggles. I was on antidepressants. I was diagnosed at 19 with major depression with psychotic features. Essentially, I was so depressed that I started hallucinating and seeing things and struggling. And at one point, I wondered, like, am I developing schizophrenia? Am I?
Is that possible?
So I don't know. I don't want to speak to that because obviously I'm not.
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't. I don't. I don't know if depression can be so bad that it results in schizophrenia. But I know I
But it can
definitely
make.
struggled with psychosis as well.
Mhm.
So I was on an antipsychotic medicine as well. So yeah, it was. I spent many years in therapy, but I also was on medication for many years as well. And it got to a point too where I was even in a psych ward at the University of
But
Iowa
and
for a
you
month.
asked to be put in that psych
I
ward,
did.
right?
So I had a Dr. Miller, Delwyn Miller, was my psychiatrist and was prescribing medicine. Essentially said, "Hey, if things get to a point where you feel like there's no way out and you're going to hurt yourself, please let me know, and we can put you in this facility to hopefully like stabilize your medication." Get you the help you need, and obviously you're not around dangerous things. You don't have weapons in there. There's nothing you can
Right, right.
even like we had to, I think they take your shoes from you, so you don't have your
Oh,
laces,
yeah.
so you don't have anything you can actually use to hurt yourself. So I knew I was at a point where it was I think 2007 was when I was in the psych ward. But that was after several years. It was '05 I started going to therapy. So it was a couple
Wow.
years of
wow.
therapy and struggling to find the right medication and struggling to find that balance. And things were just getting like darker and worse. And I had a bout of mania and I just really, really struggled. And when football was done for me, on top of the two ACLs, I ended up tearing my left pec. Finally got to play my redshirt sophomore year, and then I broke my kneecap, which was the worst injury.
Oh,
And then we all decided after that to take a medical hardship. So I was essentially still on scholarship, so I can finish up school, but I was done with the Iowa football program and was just trying to focus on school. But for me, I without football and that dream being dead, trying to figure out like I was almost 21 years old. I was just shy of being 21 when all that was done. And it's not now what do I do with my life? What is my place in the world? Who am I? This was my dream. This is the one thing that made me feel alive.
The one thing that got you out of your house.
Yeah, the one thing that
Yeah.
got me out of bed, like that was the hard, like for so long, I would wake up and I'm struggling for a reason. Like, why am I getting out of bed? Why am I here?
Mm.
Like, what reason is there for me to keep living? And I struggled to find that motivation for the longest time.
You said in an article that you always, well, since you were 9, you carried this inside you and it was getting worse and worse, but your outer shell, people wouldn't know that with your physical accomplishments, with your academic accomplishments, until you picked pre med, which science you
That
decided
did
is
not go
not for
well.
you.
Nope.
But then once that outside shell started to crack, then you were just like, you had you had no reason.
yeah, then things started to really spiral. And I felt like I was just stuffing things inside of me more and more and more. You get to a point where
It's got to
but it's
explode.
gonna,
Yeah.
and that's what happened with me, is I just thought I'd shove everything down. I wouldn't talk about what I was feeling and what was going on with me, until things got worse and worse to a point that I was very suicidal. Uh, I, I think the reason I didn't end up acting on that is because I didn't want the people around me, I didn't want anyone to discover my body. I didn't want anyone to deal with that trauma, or 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 for the act that I did to myself to hurt others. Um, but I was struggling for a reason to still be here, and that was something, I struggled with that. Even, you know, I think so often people think when you have the right relationship, or you have the right job, or you get to a point where you have enough success or enough money or fame, whatever it is, it'll fill that hole in you. But like, it didn't. And in many ways, like, wrestling gave me so much purpose and saved me, but it didn't erase the way I felt about myself. It didn't. I still struggled with like suicidal thoughts, even at the height of the New Day when we're taking off and we're doing all these incredible things, and I'm truly having a blast with like two of my very best friends. Like, there are still times where I would struggle with these bouts of depression. So none of those things erased how I felt about myself. I felt more purpose with wrestling. I felt more purpose here in the WWE, but it didn't take away how I felt about myself.
Do you still feel that way
I
sometimes?
don't. I don't. And I am so deeply grateful. I will go on and on about meditation and mindfulness. I have to give credit to a woman named Kat Simpson who worked in VIP here for a while, doing the meet and greets and whatnot. And she introduced Headspace, this app, to me.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And I was someone who, like, I was like, so the worst part of my depression was 19 to 23. Those years were hellacious, honestly. Like, I don't know how I really made it through those years. But things got better to a point where my depression was manageable, but I would still go through these cycles. And I thought, this is just who I am and something I have to manage. So I'd have good periods, and then inevitably here'd be a cycle of depression that I would just have to suffer through. And I thought, this is just what I have to do the rest of my life. I have to find a way to manage it. But in 2019, she mentioned this app to me, and I would dabble here or there, but I would always find an excuse. Like, okay, I have a 6 a.m. flight, leaving TV to go back home. I'm not gonna get up at 3 a.m. to meditate,
It's
or
easy to find
it's
excuses.
always easy
Yeah.
because we're busy. We got things to do.
Sure.
So then the pandemic hits. And I had a friend who actually worked here as well, Anthony Notarelli, and we'd have this running joke. That was fairly dark. That as soon, like within 48 hours of me being done with wrestling or retiring, I would need to be put on suicide watch, because it's like wrestling and like the
But
road.
did he know?
Yeah, because
your
we would
story?
talk about our own struggles with depression, and
okay.
thankfully he's in a much better place
But
as
you
well.
guys were joking.
It was joking, but there
But
was
not.
some,
Yeah.
but there was
Yeah.
like a serious element as well. Because the great thing is, like, I found so much purpose here, but being on the road is a nice distraction as well.
Yeah,
You're not
sure,
stuck with your
sure.
thoughts, and it's especially then, like when I first started on the road, we were doing 5 shows a week, every single week.
Mhm.
So it's town to town to town. You're home, you repack, you're back out on the road, so you don't have a lot of time to sit with yourself. But when the pandemic hit,
Mm.
I'm home every single day. And when we did have shows, we were at Emily, we were in St. Pete. So I was in Land Lakes at the time, and all of the shows were drives for me. So I wasn't getting on a flight. So I was legitimately sleeping in my bed every
Every
single
night.
night.
Wow.
And I thought, I was truly worried when I heard we're gonna be on lockdown. I thought, if I don't do anything for my mental health, I'm worried that this is going to go very, very badly for me.
Yeah.
That a real spiral is going to happen here, because I live alone and I was just sitting in the house
Yeah, stuck by yourself.
every day. So I told myself, you know what? I have no more excuses. I'm going to meditate every single day. For 10 minutes, I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to open up Headspace. I'm going to do this meditation, this mindfulness, and just see. Who knows? And it wasn't something that changed me overnight. It wasn't something that I saw these like vast leaps in a week or two, but just being consistent every single day for months and months and months over time. Like, I never understood, people talk about rewiring your brain. I never understood that. It never made any sense to me. But then after a few months, I noticed the way I would react to certain things that would usually have me spiral. It's like, there's nothing. And then like the next day, still nothing. And I feel good about myself. And over time, and it's why I would just continue to beat the drum for mindfulness and meditation, because it has vastly changed my life. It has increased my gratitude. It's made me so grateful for the small things. When I broke my neck, it wasn't, woe is me, life is falling apart, thinking
Right,
about all
which
the
you
things
can
I lost.
imagine, given injuries, what took you out of football, and now here it's taking you out of actual wrestling in the
Right.
ring, that it could have very easily triggered you.
Absolutely, which is like, and I've built a career here. So many of my friends are here. Like so much of my
Everything.
life. Like
Yeah.
I've been here since I've been signed to WWE since 2009. It's like my whole adult years have been, that's 16 years of being in this company. And it's like, who am I without that? But in that moment, I didn't think about all the things I didn't have. I was just so grateful for all the things I did have.
Wow.
The fact that I wasn't paralyzed, I had friends, and the amount of love, man, I can go on and on about. It took me 3 days to get back to all the texts, all the phone calls, and I'm just on my phone the whole time trying to get back to everyone. But in that moment, it wasn't about what I lost. It was, my God, what an incredible support system I have. Thank God for the friends I've cultivated, so many of the incredible fans that I wasn't able to get back to, who reached out with so much love. And people can talk about how toxic the internet can be, how toxic wrestling fans can be. And I'm not dismissing elements of that. That certainly exists. But I saw so much love, and it made me feel
When
so
it
good.
really mattered.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I had so many incredible people who, Seinfeld's my favorite show. And I had just so many people send me, Mustafa Ali sent me a Seinfeld Lego set. So it's of Jerry's
What a great
apartment.
idea.
So I was like, I played with Lego since I was a kid, but it was great. I was just like in my house, like excited to wake up every day and start putting together Jerry's apartment with this Lego set. I had people send me like Seinfeld comforters and scripts.
Do you think Mae Young's hand could have doubled for the man hands episode?
A fellow
There's a
Seinfeld
tie-in.
fan. Respect. But between that and I also like I talk about meditation and mindfulness so much. So I got a ton of people who sent me Seinfeld stuff and meditation and mindfulness books. And one was actually 10% Happier by Dan Harris, which I really loved. And he's this really accomplished journalist who struggled with anxiety and found meditation and mindfulness himself and started to work on himself. So for me, I just had so much love, so much support.
Can I ask you though, what is it about meditation? Because I've heard people talk about meditation forever. Like, and is it different for everybody? But if you say, okay, I'm going to meditate, what do you do?
So the one reason I love Headspace is just because it guides you through things. Because so many, and it helps demystify meditation. I think for the most part, we're all like, meditation, oh, you just sit there in silence? Like, what am I supposed to do? What am I doing here?
Right?
And so for me, and I felt the same way. Like, I didn't know how to start. What am I doing? But it's just guided meditation. So essentially, like what I'll do is I'll pick a lesson, and they have a bunch of like free basics that you can pick from. But they also have a library for like $70 for the whole year. There's a whole library that you can choose. So essentially, there is like a quick 1-minute lesson up front. But essentially, meditation and guided meditation teaches you to sit with yourself. And one of the metaphors that I love that they use is, imagine laying on the ground and looking up at the sky. And our thoughts are like those passing clouds. And you don't judge those clouds. You don't think I'm a terrible person for thinking these thoughts. So it's observing these stray thoughts, which are the clouds. You just observe and you watch them pass away. And then the clear blue sky is like the calm, empty mind. So I very much love that, because for so long, I would have sometimes, especially when I struggled with depression, I would have these dark thoughts and I would think, I'm a terrible person for having these thoughts. But meditation taught me, you don't judge your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You're not a bad person for thinking those things. You just simply note them.
You're human.
And exactly. And
Yeah.
you let them pass. So meditation just also helped me stay present. It really is just the practice of staying present. That's what mindfulness
And not
is.
letting yourself spin out.
Absolutely, because for so long, I was just trapped in my thoughts. And I think for one of the things I like to use with people who are getting into meditation or mindfulness for the first time is, sometimes if you're ever like going on a walk and you just kind of like, what happened the last 2 minutes? You like have no idea what happened. It's because sometimes we're just so lost in thought. you're not observing.
Have you ever been driving
Say,
and that
I do that
happens?
Yeah.
driving all
Yeah.
the time.
That's
Right.
the scariest to me because
How
you're
did I
behind
get
the
here?
wheel. Yeah. How did
Yeah.
I go? Oh my God, I'm missing my exit.
Right, because oftentimes we're so lost in the thoughts of the past or worried about the future. And that was me for the longest time. It's just this constant storm of overthinking. And
Mm,
so much of that thought, like the vast amount of thought, is useless. It's
yeah.
overthinking. It's worrying about these paper tigers, things that could happen, but for the most part never will, or worrying about a past that we can't change or alter. So for me,
And is it also worry about what other people think, or was that not for you?
no, for me, I was very much like, especially when I was younger, I was a people pleaser and I was very worried about how people perceived me and what they thought about me. Um, and I was always looking for outside validation. But that's another byproduct of mindfulness and meditation is learning self-love. That
Yeah.
was something I never had. And I didn't have to. So now it's not looking for someone to validate me or for someone to tell me I'm doing the right thing or the wrong thing. It's knowing within myself that I who I am and what I'm worthy of. And it's not a selfish like kind of love where it's just about me, and about building things for me. But once I was able to find empathy for myself, it helped me find empathy for others. And
Mm,
another thing I love about mindfulness is just this idea of connectivity, of being connected to others and to strangers, to the world around us, to our environment, to nature, to ourselves. And I really believe that we are all connected. I really believe
I do
in
too.
the connectivity of humanity. And yeah, so I can go on and on about meditation and mindfulness, but it really is just about staying present. It's about being grateful for this very moment because we're not guaranteed a second after this. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. We're not
Sure.
guaranteed any of those things, and we can't change the past. It's about being grateful for the right
Right now.
now, for
Hmm.
where we are right now. And so, yeah, I don't, those dark thoughts that haunted me for the longest time, I'm so grateful. I haven't had really any of that. So I'm really, really
Can
blessed.
I ask if you is there like a tool or a technique if you start to go there, do you then just pull yourself back to the present?
Yes. So,
Because
uh,
it still can happen, right? But then you correct it and it's
yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things like guided meditation will teach you. It's not just meditation and mindfulness is not just the act of the 10 minutes or however long you're meditating, but it's something you carry with you. So sometimes I'll do these grounding exercises. If I find myself too anxious or worried about things that, that are out of my control, is sometimes it's as simple as counting my steps. If I'm on a walk, it'll just be the 1, 2, 1, 2, because meditation also teaches you to come back to the breath. And it's a lot of like counting your breaths. And just that practice just brings you back to the here and now.
Wow.
It's difficult to think, to be lost in thought when you're just counting your steps. Or sometimes it's just taking note of maybe the wrinkle in this cloth,
hmm.
just anything to bring you back to where you are right now. So I do a lot of these grounding exercises and just reminding myself to come back to the present moment.
And you're doing this now, or the meditation every single day, every morning.
So yeah,
Still,
it's something I do every morning. And sometimes, if I have an early flight, it won't be in the morning. I'll have to shift it. But
But you always make
you're
sure you
doing it.
do
I
it.
will meditate every single day. And I started to think of it as, I don't, just because I was strong, I didn't stop training in the gym.
Hmm.
Just because I got to a good place mentally doesn't mean I stopped training my mind. That's something
Yeah.
I will continue to do. It's that daily exercise. And I would always encourage everyone, even if for some people, let's say meditation might not be your thing, I just think everyone, especially if you've had real struggles, having some kind of a spiritual or mental health practice, whether it's journaling, whether it's going on a walk, whatever that is, I'm just a huge believer in it.
Do you think physical activity can be that for people?
Yeah, man, the gym was my sanctuary for the longest time. Even before I've discovered therapy, just being able to like release those endorphins, being able to move, like I'm a huge proponent of exercise, and not everyone has to lift weights, but whether it's yoga, whether it's walks, whether it's running,
Whatever it is.
finding some kind of an exercise practice, I think is hugely important for your mental health.
But I know, like for myself, I can be having a bad day and I go to the gym and I train, or I get to practice jujitsu as it's now out there. But you have to stay so focused in the moment. You can't
Yeah.
think about anything else. When you're training, you get crushed if you don't pay attention to what you're doing. If you
Yep.
could hurt yourself. In jujitsu, you're gonna tap out. You're gonna get caught because you're not paying attention. You're not in the moment. You're not being your fullest self. But it seems like most physical activity, if you, I guess, if you really put your mind to it, can in a way be a form of meditation because it does keep you locked in that moment. Do you agree with
No,
that?
absolutely, and I think that's one reason I love sports. And I've been an athlete since I was a little kid. I wouldn't. I don't think it's a smart idea now, but I played tackle football when I was 7 years old, and it was just. And that's why I so often I felt alive when I was
Mm.
playing football. I felt the most alive when I was in the ring wrestling as well, because you can't have your mind elsewhere.
Yeah.
When Roman Reigns is coming with that Superman spear, I'm not worried about the bills I got to pay or anything. I'm worried about not having my jaw crushed. I'm worried about. So it forces you very much to stay present. But no, exactly, you're right, and that's why I love sports and exercise, is because it forces you to be in the moment.
We've talked about it before, but like when you're having a bad day, using that or that moment, using it as fuel for the workout. I feel like I've said that to you, and I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I need to go burn this off. Like, take it out in the gym. I mean,
For sure.
nothing better.
Yeah.
No, and that's what it was, therapy for me for the longest time. It definitely was therapy for me.
Are you ready to hold WWE history in the palm of your hand? Tops is bringing you closer to the action than ever before with WWE Tops Now, highlighting the biggest matches and milestones from WWE shows and PLEs throughout the year. Tops Now is enhancing the fan experience by connecting collectors to the superstars and spectacles that ignite their passion. Featuring stunning event exclusive photography, each card is made for the moment. And for some lucky collectors, that moment could become the pull of a lifetime. Along with serial numbered parallels, some Tops Now releases offer a chance at rare short prints, superstar autographs, and even pieces of the mat, gear, or other items used during the featured match. So, which moments will you collect? With each card only available for a limited time, you won't want to wait to begin your Tops Now journey. Be sure to subscribe to the WWE Tops Now mailing list on Tops.com and follow Tops on all social media platforms so you never miss a single moment.
Well, and since you're talking about weights, I don't know if you're going there.
No, I'm pulling a quote. You go.
Okay. When she was shooting Stephanie's Places at Hard Knocks, we happened to see your name
Oh,
everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Everywhere. We were. I mean, truly so impressive. So what did that experience? What did that gym mean to you?
Oh, I loved it, man. So I started working out. I started the first time I worked out. So my dad got me this old, like, rusted bar that I used to just do curls from when I must have been like 10 years old. But I started working out for real when I was 12 years old. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Moving some weight. So I've been working out from a very, very young
Humble
age.
pie,
I know.
right? Moving some weight.
I mean,
just a little bit of
like
weight. Uh,
700 pounds.
No big deal.
No big-
But and people sometimes when I was younger, people were like, "Oh, you must be on steroids." And I've never touched anything. I got drug tested when I was 14 years old, working at Publix. I was drug tested in college. Yeah, it's just I have great genetics. And one thing, we talk about like the issues with my father, but he did pass on great genetics, and he's just naturally very strong. But yeah, I've been working out much of my life. I was really strong and I was a 400-pound bencher when I was 17 years
I
old.
mean,
But I love the weight room, and I was obsessed. I would spend way too much time in the weight room when I was a kid.
But it was your escape, like
it
you
was my
said,
escape.
right? Like it was
Yeah.
your way out of the house.
Yes, absolutely. And so yeah, I think when I got signed in 2009. I want to say in 2010, we all started working out. The FCW talent started working out at Cena's gym, and Rob McIntyre is like Cena's longtime best friend. They grew up together, and honestly, one of the best minds in strength and conditioning. And I came from a great program at Iowa, and I was a bit skeptical. I played for played for Coach Doyle, who's the head strength coach, truly one of the best minds for strength and conditioning in the country in college football. And I thought, okay, I don't know about this Rob guy. I guess I'll see. But he's just a brilliant dude, someone who was really just honed in on his craft. And I started working out there for a bit at Hard Knocks, and essentially we got to a point where Rob pulled me aside and said, "Hey, is powerlifting something that you might want to do? Is it something you might be interested in?" And I said, "Yeah, let's give it a shot." And so we did some powerlifting meets. I did one in Florida and that went really well. And then we also did nationals in Scranton. So Rob went with me to Scranton, Pennsylvania.
And you were FCW talent at the time?
So I was signed.
Yeah.
I was signed. And
but not on TV yet?
I was not on TV yet.
Okay.
Just like local FCW TV a little bit. I was still trying to find my identity. Who am I? And powerlifting really helped because for a while I was doing this Florida's Strongest Man gimmick because but it gave me an identity. It was my first identity.
Sure.
But yeah, I was you know, at a time there was a time where, especially when I was training for nationals, we decided to compete at heavyweight, and I had to I was eating whole DiGiorno's pizzas just to put the weight on.
Oh yeah,
sounds
I got
awful.
signed at I think I was 255 when I got signed, and I just at the point I was doing the national meet, I got up to about 295 just eating and lifting, and lifting. And I got really, really strong. And even after the 2 ACLs and the broken right kneecap, I got to a point where I was squatting 750 raw with and that's not a suit or anything, no knee sleeves or anything. That's just a belt and squatting
Holy
750. I deadlifted over 800 pounds. What else? My bench, so actually the really cool thing was getting this on camera. So Cena was doing the build with The Rock at the time, a once in a lifetime, although they did it again the next
Sorry,
year.
that
But,
doesn't
it
matter.
but Cena told me, if you hit this lift, the bar was at 575, and that was gonna be my PR. I've never benched that much in my life. He said, if you hit this lift, I'll make sure that it's in the doc. And that was such a cool opportunity for me because, again, we're pretty anonymous at the time.
Right.
Roman, who is, the biggest star in our industry right now, is there spotting me. But at the time, we're on the come up.
Yeah.
We're not on TV yet. So for a chance to be spotlit on this in this documentary that millions of people are going to watch was a big deal. So it's really cool to look back at that and see Roman spotting me.
right.
And the thing is, I remember Roman. I remember following his career when he was at Georgia Tech because we were both defensive linemen.
yeah.
Around the same age, he was
Really?
he was
So
all conference.
before WWE, you knew about him?
Yeah, I
That's so
knew
funny.
the name Joe Noae. I knew because he was.
Did
a
you
really
know
good
who
dude.
his dad was?
Yeah, I know a little bit about his family, but I wasn't really at the time.
That's not why you were
Yeah, it
following
wasn't
him.
a why.
Yeah,
It was just
okay.
I was looking at the other really talented defensive linemen who were around the same age around the country, and he was one of those guys. So the chance to be there with Roman spotting me at the gym, hitting 575,
Right,
and that
right.
moment of
Right.
firing up, and you look, and Woods is there cheering me on, and so much of that crew is there. So that was just a really great time. I loved training at that gym, and lifting was always my oasis. It was my second home, and I
And
just loved
still
the
is,
camaraderie.
right?
And still is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
still love it. Although I will never touch 575 again. I'm not going. I ain't squatting over
Hey, you know
700
what?
pounds again
You
in my
don't have
life.
to.
Yeah.
You already did
I
it.
did
Right?
it.
You
I did it, and it's documented. That's right.
I
Yes.
mean,
Does
one-
Kristen like to train?
She does. Yeah. She ran track in college.
Okay.
And Kristen, my fiance, I appreciate you. Thank you for your guest. So yeah, she definitely trains. We used to when she was fun employed, as the way she puts it. So she was
that.
at Uber for a while and got laid off.
Yes, we got the Uber.
I got the Uber Eats
but
socks.
but
yes,
she
from
still
her.
still supports.
Yes, I have
Yeah.
to. Yes.
Okay. All right.
But we used to work out together. But the thing is, she's very efficient with her lifts, and I like to be in the gym for 2 hours. So we
Yeah,
lifted
you like to
together
kill
for a little
time in the
bit.
gym,
But
yeah.
yeah, now we live separately because she's not waiting on me anymore. Yeah.
So how did you guys meet?
So she's the sister of Meechin, and we met in LA for WrestleMania a couple years ago. And I was aware of her online, but
You said maybe there were some DMs.
well,
back
so,
and
so
forth.
she actually, and she will say this, she actually DM'd me. So she slid in the
Oh,
DM.
okay,
Yes.
okay. Let the truth
we
be
need
told.
we need her side. I don't know.
Yes. But I was always someone who, as much as I love this industry and I'm grateful for it, I never wanted to date in the industry. I certainly didn't want to date my coworker's sister. That's for sure. So I was always like, you know what? And she was always when she slid in the DMs, she wasn't forward at all. It was she was friendly, and
Yeah.
we would talk about things like art and books, and so I didn't know what the vibe was. I thought it was a friendly vibe. So we first met in LA, actually at the JW Marriott, where the TV hotel was, and we were kind of cool. We eventually exchanged numbers, but we just kind of talked.
Was there a little spark when you were in person?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought she was beautiful, and there's a spark there. But so she'll tell me now that the first time we hugged,
That's when she
told her
felt
best
it.
friend that she had a crush.
Oh.
But I didn't know this at the time, and I was just going about my business, living my life.
And when did the first hug happen?
The first hug happened in LA. So the first hug was actually in LA.
At the JW?
Yes, at the JW Marriott. So that's when that happened. And so a little
So
while,
she knew pretty early.
so she know fairly early.
Okay.
But so we were kind of exchanging DMs from time to time. We texted every now and then. But for some reason, it didn't really click to me until early 2024. We were in St. Pete, in my neck of the woods, for the Royal Rumble. And for some reason, it just came over to me like, why don't you just ask if she's going to be there? Just reach out and see if she'll be available. And she said, actually, yes. And I was like, okay, dope. So I'll be in town for a few days. She'll be in town as well. So she went down. I think SmackDown was in Miami. She went with her sister and then came back up. But, everything's so busy for us. It was really difficult for me to find time. So I couldn't find time to hang out with her until Sunday. And telling the story feels cheesy in retrospect. But so
Love stories
Yeah.
usually are.
we actually ended up, the time we both wanted to support Montez and Bianca. They had Love in WWE was their reality show. And we decided, okay, we're both gonna go. So I had a Fanatics Live appearance before, and I had to rush over from Tampa to get to, I think it was in St. Pete. But anyways, I had to rush over there. And she asked, like, hey, do you want me to hold a seat for you? And thankfully, she did hold a seat. I got there just in time for the start of the premiere. But yeah, sitting next to her, I don't
Well, and didn't someone try to?
well, yes. So Titus, who I've known my entire career,
I love you,
another
Titus.
Tampa native. Titus was trying to sit down next to her, and thankfully I got there right in time to say, "Dad, step aside, sir."
I've been working on the seat.
Thad was moving
Yes.
in.
Not today. So I ended up sitting next to her for the premiere, and I was so enamored with her laugh, with the way she moved that through. Like, there's so many beautiful women in our industry who are in that room, and she was the one who stood out to me. She was
And
ways-
nothing like you didn't feel that way before, but all of a sudden here, sitting next to her, you
Yeah.
just suddenly
and in
couldn't
that
take
moment,
your eyes off her.
I fell hard, and I just thought she
Do
had
you
the
think
most.
it's because of what you were there
gonna
for?
say,
I mean, I'm sure that didn't hurt. I'm sure
You
that
know,
didn't
love
hurt.
in
Yes,
WWE.
the love was percolating. It was in the air. But yeah, I just thought she had the most gorgeous laugh. I kept like pointing my body towards her because just that I just wanted to feel closer to her. She was so stunning. We ended up taking a picture with Montez and Bianca and the two of us all together. That's actually hanging up in our house right now. But yeah, and so right after that, we only had about an hour or so, a couple hours to hang out. I don't remember talking about anything like that important or that impactful. But I knew I wanted to see her again. And thankfully, me and my creative partners, we had a short film that was nominated for an NAACP Image Award. And that was going to be in March. And I thought, okay, I should invite her to that. And it's in LA, so it's not too far from where she lives in the Bay Area. And I asked if that's something you might want to go to. And she actually was, right after that premiere, she went to Japan for 18 days with her friends.
Oh.
So she's a big snowboarder. She has so many of these incredible interests and hobbies. So she went snowboarding with her friends in Japan for like
awesome.
3 weeks.
So cool.
Yeah, so she was like, okay, I'm gonna be away for a little bit, but after I come back, I need like a week to decompress, and then you can come up to the Bay Area, and then we'll fly down together. And so we just kept like texting, and we would FaceTime, and inevitably, I thought, okay, I don't want to bother her too much. I'll FaceTime for like 30 minutes. Every single time, that 30 minutes turned into 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I just loved her view of the world. I loved the way she showed up for her friends. I loved her, like, she's a big reader. She loves Baroque libraries. She loves history. She just was a full, well-rounded human who was such a light. And I knew I wanted to spend a lot of time with her. And I would get off these FaceTimes and I would just be like I'm like crying. I'm just overwhelmed with emotion. And
yeah.
I care so deeply for this human. And then I went up to see her so we can fly down together for the Image Awards. And we just knew like right away. And we were two independent people. Like she was very good being alone. She had her own condo that she owned. She had her life together. We were good on our own. And then like together, and she's someone who's like, if because she had like a 1-bedroom, and it's like her thought was, I don't want anyone in my space for more than 48 hours. You got to get out. But I was there for a week, and it was just, it all
And it didn't
felt
bother
so
her.
natural. It felt so natural. We ended up going down to LA for the awards, and the way she hit it off with my creative partners, Johnny Davenport and Andreas Hale, we all worked on this film together, and like she was talking to them about horror films for hours and hours, and the way they like, it was like they'd known each other for years and years. And I just love the way she connected with my friends so deeply. And then the awards went really beautifully. And afterwards, the after party, we're like, we can hang out, but all right, we'll check in. We didn't know much about the after party. The after party actually ended up being at that same JW Marriott
No way.
in LA. So we hugged there for the first time. That's when she had the feelings. So we made sure to take a picture at the very same spot, kissing. And yeah, so it
I
was a
feel
very
like
full circle
so
moment. Yeah.
beautiful.
I feel like the JW might need to be your wedding venue.
Oh, it
I
might
mean,
very well need to
maybe.
be.
I
I'm
don't
very
know.
familiar with that hotel.
Yes, we're there like a decent
Yeah,
amount.
many
Yes.
times.
So yeah, and then for two people who never wanted to get married, we were very good being alone. I was actually looking back recently through some things. It was a week after that award show in LA that she was starting. She put together an engagement ring doc on the things that she liked and didn't like. And for me, like I was always running away. This concept of family, I was always running from that. It was like
Sure.
I didn't want anything to do with it because it felt like an albatross. It felt like something that would weigh me down.
I
But
think too, you just didn't want to repeat.
that's it. I didn't want to
What
repeat that
you
cycle
lived
Part of the
again. Like
cycle.
God
Yeah.
forbid I do that to my own
Right.
wife or family. I can't be that person. But a week
But you're
la-
not that person.
But I'm not.
Yeah.
And in that moment when she put that doc together, I knew like this is what I want. This is the person I want to spend my life with. This is the person I want to do this with. And for two people who never want to get married, like we'd only been dating for like a few weeks, and we already knew we wanted to get married.
That's
it's not even a
amazing.
month, and we knew it. So
When
yeah,
you know, you know.
she's
That's
life's
true.
greatest blessing, and I'm so thankful for her because we'll spend like for the 4th of July weekend. We have what we call like our bubble weekends where it's just the two of
Just
us.
the two of you.
We don't leave
oh,
the
I
house.
love that
Right.
bubble
Yeah.
weekend.
She got me
I need
watching
that.
like One
Oh,
Tree
look,
Hill.
look.
And,
Oh my God.
the
so
wheelbarrow.
yes, this is how we announced our relationship.
This is
Oh
I
my
love-
God.
So we went to JC Penney.
JCPenney. I was
This
They
gonna
do
is
these
say.
amazing.
photo shoots.
That is
And she
phenomenal.
was so game, and she's
That-
and like
Oh
people
my
know me
God.
for being fun. She is so funny and makes me laugh all the time, and she was so game for all the nonsense. So yeah,
That
I
Oh
one-
my
appreciate it.
God, that is
Wow.
amazing!
Yeah.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
I'm
I just see the
so
screen. I am,
happy for
good
you.
Lord, that is
You are sweating a little bit.
that is bad.
So, do you want me to douse you in
It's
water
okay.
so
This
it's
is
all
my
the
life.
same?
It's not even that hot in here.
It's listen. It's
So I once watched Paul and Batista at Ric Flair's wedding, and all the guys who were standing, well, his third wedding, and all the guys who were standing there in these white linen suits
Yeah.
on the beach, and they start sweating, and it's hot. And also, I was like 9 months pregnant; it was very hot. And they start dripping, right? And then they get bigger patches, and then by the end of it, it
cool.
looked like
Solid.
it was meant to be that way because it was just all soaked through
It's
completely.
perfect.
I have a problem. It's real bad. I didn't
mean-
realize it was that. I knew it was coming. I didn't think it was that bad.
She makes people very nervous.
Oh God! All right.
Do you
Noted.
want to change your shirt?
I'm good. You know what? I have a blazer. This is my life.
Okay, great.
I'll just sweat through the next
I'm
shirt.
not-
So it's
yeah.
not gonna do anything.
Okay, all
Save
right,
that one
all
for
right.
later.
Right.
You know, I wondered when you came in and you said how bad you were sweating and you dabbed your head, and I'm thinking that's an awful light shirt.
Yeah.
If he starts
said, "Let's-
sweating,
let's see how this is
after
gonna
this, I
play
have to
out."
go do the countdown show. I have a blazer for that, so. I'll
but
be
you're
fine.
wearing the same.
Yeah, I'm gonna just power through.
Jackie's got
Jackie
a
has a
fan.
hair dryer.
A fan.
Also,
Okay.
yeah.
We'll see if that works.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know.
Take care.
see,
of
I'm
you.
on this new medication, so my hot flashes aren't as bad, which is too bad because I could share with you. and
Yeah, I might need to look into that. Thank you.
You might not want that one.
I know. I don't think you want.
Yeah, maybe just black shirts from here on
Yeah,
out.
maybe,
That's it.
maybe.
I don't
Or
know.
dark
I don't know.
blue.
Yeah. I'm a mess.
Obviously, you know we're partnered with Fanatics. So, we know you were a Bucks fan growing up. Is there anybody that you could think of in Bucks history that you would have wanted an autograph? You know, your younger self would have wanted that autograph from?
Absolutely. Not only was I a huge Bucks fan, I was also a massive Florida State Seminoles fan as well. And Derek Brooks was a monster for the Seminoles and an incredible player for the Bucks as well. And not only that, but like he did these incredible things with kids where he would take them on safaris if they did well in school. So just someone who really impacted the community on and off the field. He was just an incredible person to look up to as a Tampanian. So I definitely would love an autograph from the Derek Brooks. And now, back to the show.
But congratulations. I
Thank you.
we couldn't be, or I shouldn't speak for you, but I couldn't be
I agree.
happier for you. You
Thank
seem
you.
so genuinely happy. And to
Yeah.
know from what a dark place you were in one time to how to see you shining and to feel you shining
Yeah.
and to feel how in love you are when you talk about her, that's like, oh, that's what it's all about.
It really is.
I think love is what it's all about. I really do.
couldn't agree more. And it's also why I like having these conversations and talking about mental health, because if I had taken myself out of this world when I was really struggling and couldn't see a way through, I would have missed out on so many
So
incredible
much.
things, so many blessings. And I'm so grateful to find love, to have had this really incredible career in WWE that I'm so grateful for, to have traveled the world, man. Like I talk about, I got to wrestle Randy Orton in South Africa. I've been to Japan a half dozen times.
But no snowboarding.
No snowboarding.
Okay.
Yeah. And she's since the neck injury, she's also like banned me from snowboarding.
Oh, okay.
Which,
That's
which I'm
probably
okay
smart.
with.
That's
Like,
fair. That's fair.
I'm done with the risk taking. I think I'm good with all that.
Yeah.
But like I've had so many incredible experiences, and even like getting to be a part of Marvel. There's this, no.
So
I don't
talk
like-
about some of your
yes.
projects.
Yes. So
And you talked about your creative team and winning the NAACP award. So
we didn't
for-
win, unfortunately, but we
I'm
got
sorry, you're
nominated. We got
nominated, which is
yes.
still
The
like
start.
right the same thing to me.
Yes, thank you so
I'm
much.
saying.
Yeah, so Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is out on Disney Plus, and I voice Bulldozer, which has been a blast. And
And who's
currently-
Bulldozer and
so,
what's the plot and what's the show? You got to
listen.
sell me on it.
Okay,
Come on.
So Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is obviously we follow like Peter Parker, but Bulldozer, I am a part of this crew, and right now, so we don't know everything about this crew, but we're villainous and we do some
Ooh.
untoward things. But in the first season,
Always.
you see this young man named Lonnie, and he's trying to do the right thing, but sometimes you have certain temptations. You're trying to pay the bills, and there's shortcuts you can take. And Lonnie eventually decides, like, hey, maybe I'll take some shortcuts. And I Bulldozer, I'm like, maybe come to this side and do some things over here. So we have yet to really, have many like real interactions. With Spider-Man, nothing too meaty yet, but it's starting to
It's
get
building.
there. Yeah,
Your character's being developed.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've already started recording for season 2, and so much love to Jeff Trammell, who is a showrunner, an incredible dude, a big wrestling fan as well, the showrunner for that. So that is something I'm really excited about. Our short film Bridges was what got nominated for an NAACP Image Award. That tells the story of Ruby Bridges, and I voice this 9-foot-tall robot who takes kids through this futuristic museum. So that you can find that on our YouTube, Our Heroes Rock. So that was something we're really proud of. And what else? I got to do my first feature film with Randy Couture, Tommy Davidson, and Jennifer Esposito, and that's called F+. That's out now. You can find that. You can rent or buy that on like Apple or Prime TV. That was fun. It's a family heist movie. The kids are incredible in it. And it's actually, the guy who designs our gear, and he's my creative partner, Johnny Davenport, he wrote the film. So he designs our gear, Bailey's gear, DIY.
Oh, wow.
Just an immensely talented dude, and I hope more people learn about all the incredible things that he does. But yeah, that's a film. And I also am in a short film called Pocket Change.
Can
with
we
Fred
put
Rodriguez.
up like his follow information?
Please do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give some love to my guy, Johnny.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. And then I'm also in a short film with Freddie Rodriguez, who's an incredible actor. And actually did a movie with Charlotte and called Pocket Change. And that just premiered at Indianapolis. And there's an LA premiere mid-August as well. So yeah, just a few things brewing. I really enjoy acting. I'd love to do more hosting as well. But I love being creative. And I think my time in the New Day really it lit that creative spark for me. And I just love being able to throw myself in creative projects.
So you quote Walt Whitman, and you talk about the multitudes of personalities basically within all of us, and how the New Day really helped you find yourself by being yourselves.
Yeah.
Can you expound upon that? And New Day was like your spark of creativity, and tell that story.
Absolutely. And, obviously we're apart now. Those dastardly
Well, yes, I know
ne'er-do-wells.
those
But
evil.
I think I was someone.
They're
for the
going through their own journey. Don't judge
Yeah,
them.
that they are. Yeah, in due time. They'll figure it out. So I think I was someone who I struggled to kind of be comfortable in my own skin for the longest time. And also just coming from football, you have this helmet on. It's not really about your personality. And now suddenly in WWE, I first started in trunks. So I'm half naked in front of people.
Right.
And that's it takes some
That's
time to get
daunting,
comfortable
yeah.
with that. And even like when I first came up on the road, it took me a while to get my feet wet and feel comfortable, and trying to figure out. For the longest time, I wanted to be the serious person, and that didn't really connect the way I wanted to. And then thankfully, NXT, Dusty, God rest his soul, gave me the idea for the 5 count, which King Kong Bundy used to do. And that gave me something that people really got into. But that's not something I got to do on the main roster. And started off with Dolphin AJ, and that went well, and I was done with that. Then I was on my own for a little bit, but I didn't have my thing yet. And then when the New Day started, it took us a while. It took us a long time. We've talked a lot about getting off the ground. But eventually, in 2015, when we got to the point of really being able to try things, that for me.
And you talked a little bit about the difference between being a heel and a babyface, and the liberties you were afforded more as a heel, the entire group, how,
Yep.
and then like, what did you get to do that then turned you back babyface?
Yeah, so I love when you can be an antagonist, you don't have to worry about trying to please people. So I think it just opens the door to being silly, to being obnoxious, to doing a lot of different things. So for us, that was a really incredible time in our careers. We just got to throw things at the wall. We really got to try different things. Like even bringing out a trombone and playing a
Right.
trombone is that is
Random.
bizarre. There's so many different things that we got to do. But it really, for me, and I got out of this, like, this is who I am. I need to be in this box. And it really, like, it blew the doors off the box. And we just got to try things. And so often they worked, sometimes they didn't. But it really sparked this idea for me of, like, I can be creative. I can have a voice here. I can try things that are outside of the box. And we all got addicted to that. And we just had this real, like, synergistic relationship where when the three of us got together and started putting ideas together, we had so much fun. And one idea, like, piled upon another idea, and that grew and blossomed, and we just had such a great working relationship together. So that freedom, I think, really connected with people. And I always say, like, we were terrible heels because we never really got booed. As soon as we turned, people were behind us because we were fun.
Yeah,
And-
you were entertaining and fun.
and we had a lot of fun. And then eventually we just carried that through as good guys, just kind of tried to keep a lot of that same creativity. And that was such an incredible ride. And to have two partners who I just really thought the world of and have so much respect for, and they had the same trust in me. And having two guys who you respect so much, trust you to come up with ideas and trust your voice, really just opened so much up for me, where I felt confident in being able to say, hey, I'm gonna come in with this idea. Let's try that. Hey, let's do a wrestling cereal called Bootios. Sure, why not?
Right.
Yeah, so it's
Who came up with Bootios?
so we saw there was a fan who brought a sign with the Wheaties box on it, and it had us. And we thought, oh, like, what would it be like
Right,
if we
what
were
would
like a
your
wrestling
cereal
cereal?
be?
What would it be? And at the time, we thought there were a bunch of, like, there's like a lot of slang that had kind of died that we thought was funny to us, like, hey, your booty, like,
Right,
it's just like booty being a
Booty's a
derogative.
great.
Right,
I
right.
thought it was a great word. It's not.
So we decided to bring booty back because we're all children. We're just children. And we just decided I think it was Woods who asked me and Kofi separately what the name of the cereal should be, and we both separately said Bootios, and I was all right. That's
Wow.
Bootios.
Yeah.
And I have to give so much credit to Creative Services. I can't remember. We got to meet him, the name of the artist at the time who worked on it in the office. But usually we're very picky about our promos, about the creative stuff, about the layout of things. As soon as we saw that first design for the Bootios box, perfect. We had no notes. They nailed it. It was exactly what we wanted. So we were so thankful for that. And that's, like, more than anything in my career, I wanted to be a one of one. And, there are always going to be guys who are bigger than me, stronger than me, better talkers, better workers. but I always wanted to create something that was just different from anything else going. And it is so wild. We were just three guys trying to save our jobs. And to look back, to have this incredible 483-day tag title run, to break a record that stood for over 20 years, held by Demolition, to have this promo seg with The Rock, to have singles matches with Cena, to experience Kofi Mania, to have a cereal, to do all the
Can,
things. To host
can you
WrestleMania.
talk about Kofi Mania and
Yep.
how that? So two things. I want you to talk about Kofi Mania and how it all, like, how did you guys really feel in the moment when you started to hear that chant and knowing how long and hard Kofi has just fought for this opportunity, and it wasn't being given to him by the office or anybody else. The crowd, the audience, they are who demanded Kofi. I mean, they demanded Kofi Mania.
Yeah, no, Kofi's was one of those guys. Like at the time, I think it was 11 years of being on the main roster and had never had a world title match. And like Kofi's just one of those guys who always has a smile on his face, always did all the media, did everything asked of him, never complained, never buried guys. Just an example of a guy who did things the right way.
Consummate professional.
Consummate professional, week in and week out for years and years and years. And I think he's just someone who's one of the most respected humans in this industry. And I think so often, like a guy like that is just someone who kind of gets put in the category of being a good hand. He can have great matches, but his ceiling is here. And I think Woods and I just had so much respect for him, and we would always refer to him as our GOAT, just a shining example of who a pro wrestler should be and the way he should carry himself. And for us, like him getting that opportunity, unfortunately, Mustafa Ali gets hurt, and Kofi's just put in his slot and in that position, and immediately, like he took the ball and he ran with it, and people just got behind him. And I think there was just something that resonated with people because I think so many of us can recognize what it's like to do a good job, to represent your company well, but to only be here and to feel
Get
like,
overlooked.
okay,
Yeah,
I'm
the
getting
squeaky
passed
wheel
over.
always gets the grease.
Right,
I'm not
right.
like that. Why does that happen?
Right, I'm doing things the right way. I don't get in
Yeah.
trouble, but I'm only here. And I think that's why Kofi connected so much with people. And it was such a special time because it was so organic and it was so real. And those to me are the best moments in wrestling. And I love too that Kofi won the title at WrestleMania from Brian, from someone who had a very similar story, a very
Yeah.
organic run. And yeah, man, that moment was so special. And actually to be here, so we're here across the street from MetLife, where Kofi won the title, where Kofi Mania
Right? Oh, okay,
really
goosebumps.
took off.
Yes.
Just to be here 6 years later is really really incredible because it was one for the good guys. It was someone who did things the right way and was so talented and got his moment. And I love that. I love when our industry can provide something that feels so organic, that feels so real. I still think of
When they
that-
listen.
Yeah,
When the industry listens.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I still think of that video of Shad, God rest his soul, and an MVP of them crying, and like it's so easy for us in the industry to be jaded, but when they see Kofi win that title, and it's like you feel it, and like having his family in the ring as well to celebrate. I love when we step out of thinking this is entertainment, this is a show, and it is so visceral. And I think that connection with Kofi, he has a bit of like that everyman feel. Who's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, he doesn't come from a wrestling lineage, but someone who's just given his all, who's always wanted this, and to get to the height of our industry at WrestleMania and to beat one of the greatest of all time in Brian, it was just a really, really special moment. You see Woods too. I couldn't conjure any tears at the moment. Woods, just the tears are rolling
Oh.
for him because it meant so much to all of us, and just one of the best humans in this industry. And it's beautiful to see the good guys win.
And how important is culture to the New Day? Because you talked about how it was basically a reflection of all the things you guys loved in pop culture.
Yeah.
And the importance of culture.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
connection and resonating.
Very much so. And like there's so much that we did in nerd culture that we wanted to speak to. When we come out of the giant Bootios box is wearing the Dragon Ball Z
Yeah.
shells. But you wanna I think the more we can connect with our fans and like display our common interests, the better. So like pop culture is always something that we wanted to shine through in our wrestling gear, in our promos, and even just the culture of being three black men who wanted to tell the story of brotherhood. So often in factions, they're looking for someone who's going to stab the other in the back or turn on each other. But we had never really seen a story like that. Like Woods and I went through this gauntlet match, an hour gauntlet match to a tag team gauntlet match to get Kofi that opportunity. And I never seen anything like that in wrestling. Two guys who are going to go through the fire to win someone else an
Right.
opportunity. It's not about
Usually they
us.
all turn on each other.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And actually, so we sat down yesterday for Fanatics Live with Lyra, and she talks about seeing Becky being in Ireland, and that's what sparked her to start training. Is when Becky debuts, because it's I see
See
another
myself.
Irish
Yeah.
woman who has made it and can do it. Let me follow in that path because I see it, and that's why I think representation matters in so many forms. Is when you see that three black men can do this together, and it's not about backstabbing. It's about our love for each other and our love for our profession, for our craft. So that's a story that we're really, really proud of. It wasn't about the backstabbing. It wasn't about who wants to be a leader as well. We always made it very clear there is no leader. We all wanted to be on equal footing as
And
well.
you were concerned about doing the voice in the beginning because you didn't want to be positioned as being
Yeah.
above them or anything like that. And they were like, shut up.
Yeah.
right.
How could you
Yeah.
not? How could you not?
Yeah.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
Right. It's
It's the best.
no.
Can you do
because
it?
I don't want to blow out your mic, but we'll see. Okay.
Do it.
Come on now.
Okay. Oh, what's your story? Don't you dare be sour. Clap for Stephanie and feel the power.
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
That's our new opening.
No, that has to be the
Literally.
new open.
Every
Please.
every episode.
Unfortunately, you hear my giggle in the back, but
I mean,
like that is
part of it.
Oh my God! Thank you,
So
thank
good.
you,
Of
thank you, thank
course,
you. That
of
was
course.
awesome.
Of course.
Oh my God, there were so many quotes that I took, and you've pretty much talked about all of them. So I think it's better than some of the quotes. But
The Barbie one.
no, you can.
No, we were talking about it in the car. The you used to take your action
Oh
figures.
yeah, this is funny.
right, and you would have a match with like your sister's Barbie van.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah. She had like
hardcore
this.
match.
My sisters had this
The
like this
hardcore, yeah.
camper van, and it came with like a little picnic table and folding chairs.
No, I'm familiar with it.
So yeah, yeah.
Barbie Dream Van.
It was
Yes,
incredible.
of
I
course.
mean-
But
I
it
mean-
made for like great hardcore matches.
Oh, yeah, I
So,
could see
yeah,
that.
I had my first two figures were I had a Jake the Snake and I had Hacksaw Jim Duggan with the 2x4.
Mm-hmm,
So things would spill out of the ring, and then we had hardcore matches just right there.
I mean, I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay. So I'm going back to one of the more serious quotes. Going back to when you were talking about therapy, and it's because of where it gets to at the end.
Yep.
So in addition to talk therapy, I started to see a psychiatrist. This talks about everything that you went through. And then you say, you kind of sum it up and you say, we tried everything, man. Some of it showed signs of working. Some of it didn't work at all. Some of it was straight up traumatic. My life over the next few years, it was a perpetual trial and error. It was exhausting. Frankly, it was excruciating. But it wasn't a spiral anymore. Or if it was a spiral slowly turning around, then straightening out into a long, winding road. And I just love that metaphor of how that spiral can straighten out and then be the beautiful thing that life is supposed to be.
Absolutely. And I'm so grateful for the path, for the story. I remember my therapist in college asked me, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I told him, if I'm still alive, living under a bridge. And it wasn't a joke. Like, I legitimately didn't see how I could hold down a job or have a relationship with my struggles. But there was no, with therapy and with medication, there was no like eureka moment, no sudden moment where things just suddenly got better. Over time, things calmed slowly to a point where it was a little bit more manageable. And then I had this opportunity with WWE, and that sent me on a path. But it's, things didn't magically just get better, but they got manageable, and I found my purpose, and I found a life that I was able to build for myself. And yeah, I just want to impress upon people that I don't think therapy is a magic pill. It doesn't just suddenly get better, but over time it does. And being consistent allows it to get better. And it has been a circuitous path, but it has been a beautiful one, and one that I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful for all the people who have helped lighten my burden and have opened doors for me, and all the lessons I've learned. And I'm grateful to still be here, because so many times I didn't know why I was here. I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But life will knock you down, and we will all at some point we were
No
gonna
matter
deal
who
with
you
that.
are.
Absolutely, in one way or another, and it has knocked me down many times. But I'm grateful that when doors were closed, another one found a way to be open, and that has just been the lesson of my life. There's so many times I thought I was going to point A, and point A just didn't work out for me, but there was a B, and sometimes that B was even better than the A. And I just am continually humbled by life. I continue to learn about myself, about the world around me, and the challenges that come. But I'm grateful for it all, and
Gratitude is really important.
it really is. And you have to learn to be resilient, because things just are not going to go the way you assume they will.
Nope.
They never do.
They never go the way
But-
you want them to go.
But honestly, the alternative can honestly be so much better. This wrestling was not my dream. I was a huge fan as a kid, and I would always bristle when we would do these. People would ask, like, we would sit down when we were all together, three of us in the New Day, and Kofi would tell this amazing story of always wanting this and trying, finally getting here. Woods would tell the same story of always trying, always wanting this. And my story is just like some meathead football player who failed, who someone said, "Hey, you want to give this a shot?" But that's
You
been
didn't fail.
I mean-
thank you. I appreciate that. The lesson for me, though, has been that so many times you don't know where life is taking you, and so many times not getting what you want is the best thing for you. And I'm so
And isn't
grateful.
that the winding road?
That is the winding road,
Right?
absolutely. And I know it will continue to be that way. I will continue to learn. I will continue to be taken in paths I didn't anticipate. But I'm learning to adapt with it, to continue to grow, to be excited about growing, to be excited about learning. And yeah, that's been the lesson for me. Is this winding path has been a challenging one. It has been a difficult one at times, but it's been a really beautiful one.
And I think for those who are struggling, please do seek help, ask for help. And if you see someone struggling, because you had talked about your coach who came over, he saw something wasn't right. And he, without even asking you, just said, "I want you to see this person."
Yep.
And how much it meant to you that he saw you struggling because you couldn't speak for yourself.
Right.
And then your other coach who showed up for you in the psych ward because you were feeling all the things you were feeling being there. And what mattered is that somebody actually just showed up. And if you can show up for somebody, how much that matters, And again, no matter how they react, right? Like you said earlier, it's the act of kindness itself, And I believe momentum is everything. And I think positive energy begets positive energy. And the same is also true. Negative energy begets negative energy. And you have to do all of the things you can to stay present, as you said, meditation, therapy, if you need therapy, to stay in the moment, to be grateful, to recognize and have the perspective of what really matters most to you.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I'm so grateful for all the people who were there for me. And I had a chance to talk to a few people at the University of Iowa when I was there for homecoming. And one lady came up to me and just asked she has a child who's really struggling with her own mental health, and just asked, like, what can I do? And I know for me, I don't think there was anything that someone could say that would shake me out of that when I was really struggling. I don't know if there was one word, but honestly, it was just for me as simple as someone being there, just being there, saying, I'm here, and if you need a sounding board, if you need someone just to be there, and that's what I encourage people. If you don't know what to say to someone who's really struggling, just being there, saying, I'm not going anywhere, I'm whatever you need, I'm here for you. Just having someone be there has been so hugely important for me in my life. So I'm immensely grateful for all the people who were just there for me, who opened doors for me, who listened to me, or who just didn't leave, even when I couldn't give voice to what I was feeling or going through. They were there, and that's what I aim to be moving forward in my life, is just being there and just encouraging others. If you're not struggling, but you know people in your life who are struggling, don't be afraid to be there, to show up for people. And I'm just a huge believer in community. I really think we need each other. And so much of our culture teaches us that individuality is everything, that it's all about self. But I believe that when we're hurting, when we're struggling, when we're dealing with loss, we need each other. We need to lean on each other. We are social creatures by design, and we need community. And yeah, I think we all need to build community for each other and support each other, because life will always be tough. There will always be challenges, but I'm so immensely and forever grateful for the teachers, the coaches, the friends, the strangers who were there for me. And when I didn't see a way out, they were there. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here now.
Well, I'm so incredibly grateful for you. And thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing
Yeah.
your heart and soul and your story, and for just giving us such great advice. I mean, I think there's no question why we wanted you to be a guest so badly on this show. And anybody who just listened to this podcast, they know wholeheartedly you're such a special human being. And I couldn't be happier for you. And just, I'm here to support you. And you know that in anything, any of your future projects,
Thank you.
any way I can.
Thank you so much. No, I really appreciate the platform. And talking about mental health is something that's increasingly important to me. Like I said, I was so ashamed to talk about these things now, but now I find so much joy in being able to talk about it and knowing that there is such a beautiful light at the end of the tunnel. And so many of us don't see that light, and I couldn't see it for so long, but I'm so grateful to be here. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the platform. I'm truly appreciative.
No, I love you, Biggie.
I appreciate it. I love you too, Steph. Thank you. I don't know if you want a hug, because it's going to be a sweaty one.